Let's be honest, we all have a love-hate relationship with passwords. Mostly hate. That feeling of being locked out, the endless cycle of resetting them, trying to remember which one goes where. Ugh. But what if I told you that whole frustrating mess might be coming to an end? Today, we're going to talk about its potential replacement, something called a passkey. So, here's our game plan. First, we'll dive into why passwords are such a headache. Then, we'll introduce the hero of our story, the passkey, and get into how it actually works. After that, we'll see where you can use them right now, and finally, we'll ask the big question. Is this really the end of the line for passwords?
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the password problem. And I'm willing to bet this first part is going to sound painfully familiar to you. Picture this. You need to do something important, like check your bank account. You type in your password, hit enter, and bam, incorrect password. You try a couple more times, maybe with a capital letter here or a number there, and next thing you know, you're completely locked out. It's that universal moment of pure screen-punching frustration. The whole system is just broken, and the data really proves it.
No, this isn't a joke. You're looking at the most popular password in the world for 2 years running, according to research from NordPass. It's 123456. And you know what number 2 is? 1234567889. It just goes to show you, despite all the data breaches, all the warnings, our habits just aren't changing. We are basically screaming for a better way to do this.
And that, right on cue, brings us to Section 2. We've laid out the problem, so let's bring in the proposed solution. Meet the passkey, a modern fix designed for everything we can't stand about passwords.
So, what is a passkey, really? Well, think of it this way. Instead of relying on something you know, like Dog Lover 1992, it relies on something you are or something you have. We're talking about your face, your fingerprint, or even just the PIN for your device. You just look at your phone, you touch a sensor, and you're in. No typing, no remembering, no fuss. And here's where it gets really interesting. On the one hand, you have passwords. They're often weak, they're stored on some company's server just waiting for a data breach, and they're super easy to fall for in phishing scams. But passkeys, they flip the script on all of that. They are incredibly secure, mathematically speaking, and crucially, there's nothing for a hacker to steal from a server. Plus, because they're tied to a specific website, those phishing emails that trick you into logging in to a fake site, they just don't work anymore.
Okay, moving on to Section 3. Now, I know this is going to sound a little technical, but stick with me, because the idea behind it is actually really clever and surprisingly simple. Let's unpack some of this digital magic.
The easiest way to wrap your head around this is to think of a bank deposit box. When you set up a passkey, your phone or computer creates 2 digital keys. One is a public key. That's like the number on your deposit box that you can give to the bank, or in this case, the website. But the other one is a private key, and that's like the actual physical key you keep in your pocket. It never, ever leaves your device. Nobody can get into your box without your special key.
So here's how that secret handshake plays out. First, you go to a website and say, hey, I want to log in. The website then sends your device a totally random one-time use challenge. Second, your device takes its private key to digitally sign that challenge, and this is the part where it asks for your face or fingerprint to prove it's really you. Finally, your device sends that signed proof back to the website. The website checks it with your public key, sees that it matches, and boom, you're in. A password never even had to cross the internet.
Okay, so that's the theory. It sounds pretty cool, right? But is this just a tech fantasy, or can you actually use this stuff today? Let's jump into Section 4 and see where passkeys are already living out in the wild.
And the short answer is, yeah, they're pretty much everywhere that matters. I mean, look at this list. You've got the big 3, Google, Apple, and Microsoft, fully on board. But you also have giants like Amazon, eBay, Uber, even the Nintendo and PlayStation networks. And it's not just about making things easier for us. Think about it. For these huge companies, dealing with forgotten passwords and security breaches costs them billions. Passkeys are a massive security upgrade and a huge money saver for them, which is exactly why this is happening so fast.
That's all great for my shopping and gaming accounts, but what about the really important stuff? I think this is the question on everybody's mind. What about my bank?
And that's a totally fair question. The banking world, tends to move a bit slower when it comes to adopting new tech. A lot of traditional banks are still lagging. But the innovators are already making the leap. You've got major fintech players like PayPal, Revolut, and Robinhood that have already rolled out passkeys. That's a huge signal that it's really just a matter of time before the rest of the industry has to catch up.
So with all these new passkeys, how are you supposed to manage them?
Well, this is where the password manager you already use gets a huge upgrade. Services like ProtonPass, 1Password, Dashlane, they all now support passkeys. They become your central hub, storing and syncing your passkeys across every device you own, whether it's an iPhone, an Android, a Mac, or a PC. It makes the entire system just work seamlessly.
And that brings us to our final section. Is this really it? Is this the final chapter for passwords? Let's tackle some of the biggest questions and, frankly, the biggest fears people have about making this switch.
All right, this is the big one. This is the number one fear I hear from people. My passkeys are on my phone. I lose my phone. Am I just locked out of my entire digital life forever? The answer, thankfully, is a huge no. Here's why. Your passkeys are automatically and securely backed up to your cloud account, whether that's Apple's iCloud or your Google account. And they're end-to-end encrypted, which means not even Apple or Google can see them. So when you get a new phone, you just sign into your account and poof, they're all back. Plus, even if a thief got your old phone, they still couldn't use your passkeys without your face or your fingerprint. You're safe.
Okay, so this tech is clearly powerful and solves a lot of problems. But is it the ultimate silver bullet for absolutely everything? Are we ready to completely erase the word password from our vocabulary? Well, not quite yet. There are still a handful of situations where good old-fashioned passwords make sense, at least for now. For example, shared accounts, like your family's Netflix login. A passkey is tied to one person's fingerprint, which doesn't really work there. Or maybe you have some old software at work that just hasn't been updated yet. For really low-stakes things like a random internet forum, a decent password is probably good enough. And of course, automated computer scripts can't exactly use Face ID to log in. So after all that, seeing the problems they create and the elegant, secure solution passkeys offer, the final question really comes down to you. With all the biggest names in tech backing this and the process getting smoother every single day, are you ready to finally start saying goodbye to your passwords? The future is being written as we speak.